Hey guys, we're up here at Kayak City. We're just gonna go over the basics. We're just gonna look at a bunch of different kayaks for those of you guys who are looking to get into kayaks. You don't really have a whole lot of exposure or experience to it. I wanna go over some of these kayaks, just go over some generalizations, let you know the differences between the kayaks, the different styles, maybe something that fits you better than something else. The great thing about kayaks is there's really no right or wrong. You just want to find something that works for you, whether it's bigger and heavier, whether it's smaller and lighter, whether it's more on the fishing side, whether it's more on the comfort side, whether it's more on the adventure side, or whether it's more on just the recreational side. There literally is a kayak for everyone. So let's check them out and see if we can find you something, or at least get you in a direction towards something that you think you're going to want. All right guys, so we're going to do a little kayak 101. You're going to have, as far as your fishing kayaks go, we're going to go over some recreational kayaks as well. I'm going to go into the brands a little bit, but I really just want to give you guys an overall view of what you can expect when you're looking to get into kayaking or kayak fishing especially. So you have a couple of different types of pedal drives. You have the Hobie pedal drive, which is a push-pull system with your feet. And then you have your bicycle pedal drive, which most other kayak companies are going to have, most notably Old Town and Native, as well as Bonafide. Okay, so let's talk about the differences. And then once you pull the red lever, you go backwards, so green forward, red backwards. You're pedaling the same way. That's all that means. 180 drive. So pros of the 180 drive: it's the easiest. There's no argument there. It is the easiest drive to propel any type of kayak. That's what made Hobie. It is super easy. The other benefit is if you're on a lake with a bunch of weeds or with a bunch of grass, this is known for just going straight through the grass, straight through the weeds. For me, when I take this kayak out on the Delta, it's an amazing time because I'm not having to clean the prop off or lift it up or take it out. I can just go through weeds, go through grass, and it just goes through like butter. That is an amazing thing. As far as the pedal drive kayaks, these are also very good. My top choices are the PDL drive from Old Town, and then second, the Native drive, which you can also find on the Bonafide kayaks, which we'll get to in a minute. But these have instant forward and instant reverse. You don't have to worry about pulling a lever, right? You're just going forward, you're going backwards instantly, and it's your traditional bicycle style. So something that most people are used to is that bicycle style type of pedaling. Now, I hear you on my paddlers. I love to paddle, I love to paddle, I love to paddle. I hear that. Once they get on one of these pedal drives, it's really funny because they paddle very little after that. One of the reasons is with both pedal drives, you can go faster, you can go further. It's a lot easier. It's going to take a lot less effort and a lot less strain on your body than paddling. I have nothing against paddling. I still do like to paddle from time to time in the right kayak. But if I'm on a wider kayak, especially a fishing kayak, I'm gonna want the pedals because one, it lets me be more hands-free. It lets me stay in place, right, where I can go backwards and forward very easy. That is the big benefit of the pedal over the Hobie push-pull system, is that I can instantly go forward and backwards. So I could move, I can kind of hover in one space. Where on here, I will have to pull the lever both forward and backwards. So that's the only downside there. But other than that, very good going through weeds. Really, really easy to use, really, really easy on your legs. Here you have the instant forward and reverse. It's something that a lot of people are used to, especially because it's just your bicycle style. Also easy to use, but when it comes to a wide stand-up kayak, I'd much rather have a pedal over a paddle. Again, nothing against the paddle, but just easier to use overall. All right, so moving into something that's smaller, those kayaks are gonna be great for everybody, but especially bigger guys. If you're more on the recreational, I still kind of want to fish. I don't need all of the fishing gear. I don't need to take a bunch of tackle. I don't need to do all that stuff. You can move into the smaller kayaks, right? So what we see here are the Hobie Passport. This is the 10.5R. So it's a 10-footer. It's going to be narrower. It's going to be a little bit faster because it is narrower. It's definitely not going to have the same stability as the bigger kayaks, but not everybody needs that. Again, if you're a smaller individual, if you're not really looking to do a whole lot of standing up and fishing, the Passport is a great option, especially if you are car topping, right? So one of the things that comes into play with kayaks is how heavy are they? So when you're looking at these kayaks, you're looking at 100 to 100+ pound kayaks, right? As we move down the selection, you're getting into sub 70, sub 60 pound kayaks, which makes them very easy to transport on top of a car, which makes them very easy to transport from the car to the water. So the great thing about kayaks, guys, is there is a kayak for everyone. There's no real right or wrong. It's just whatever suits you best. So that's something to think about. These kayaks are going to be best fit on a trailer or in the back of a pickup truck. I will show you guys how I do car top larger kayaks. It's not that hard, but again, it's going to depend on your physical ability. So you still do, in the lighter version, have the option to have pedal kayaks. And I'll get to some really amazing light, great options for you guys as well. But we're going to move on. So you also do have paddle fishing kayaks. Now, these kayaks are typically a little bit narrower than the bigger pedal kayaks. You don't lose a whole lot of stability here. Those larger kayaks are on the extreme for stability. Somebody who's, you know, 6'4", 250 pounds could step off of a dock onto those kayaks and not move, right? Whereas these kayaks, you can still do that. They are going to just move just a little bit, but they are still extremely stable. So my rule of thumb is, when somebody says, I want a really stable kayak, once you get to 34, 35 inches, you get a whole lot of stability. You're not going to get a whole lot of roll from these kayaks. You're going to be able to stand up and fish comfortably at about that width, and that's where these come into. The cool thing about these kayaks, especially this RVR 119, is this kayak is built for moving water. Now you can take this on any lake, you know, any pond, but when you get it into moving water, it just really excels. And I'm not going to get into too much detail. We're going to do a review on this kayak specifically, but you still do have the ability to get into a fishing kayak that does paddle really well, and this is one of them. The benefit of this kayak is it's going to be less expensive, right? The entry point to get into this kayak is going to be about $1,600, whereas these kayaks over here range anywhere from $3,000 to $6,000 as far as the bigger guys. So great kayak. You still have a lot of accessories. You have great high quality gear that's on here, stainless steel. You have a great seat, right? One of the things that you're going to want to look for in your kayak, if you're going to be there all day, is having a framed seat. That's going to be important. And then having a lot of gear tracks for those of you guys who want to fish. If you're more of the, hey, I just want to go out and paddle, kind of a recreation, then you're probably just going to want a place for you to put like an ice chest, a blanket, and maybe a cup holder, and all of these kayaks will be able to do that. You can also move up to a little bit of a longer, bigger kayak that's set up for a motor, a bow mount up front. This one is from Bonafide, and it also does allow you to have the pedal drive as well. And then we can go into some really, you know, more budget-friendly kayaks that have pedal drives as well. So when it comes to a pedal drive, if that's something that you are really stuck on, your point of entry is really going to be on the low end about $1,500, and on the high end could be as high as $6,000. So it's going to depend on the size and the style of your pedal drive. This kayak that we have here is much more on the budget friendly side. It's going to be smaller, so a bigger guy I would not recommend this kayak for, but obviously if you're a normal sized human being, you know, and you're not 6 foot plus, or you're a little bit on the smaller side, you can definitely save some money on some kayaks. So one of those budget options is the feel-free. So the feel-free option is going to be your sub $2,000 option. In fact, this kayak is only $1,250 versus the $3,000 to $5,000 kayaks that we saw before. So what you're going to give up is you're going to give up some of that build quality. It doesn't mean that it's horrible, but you're not going to obviously get the same style of build quality out of the feel-free. But you are going to get the pedal drive, and you are going to get a narrower kayak. So again, once you get up past 35 inches wide width, you get extremely stable. Once you go under about 33, you still have some stability, but it's going to depend on your athletic ability, what you feel comfortable with. Are you more on the clumsier side? Are you more on the more fit side? Are you shorter or are you taller, right? So you can still get a pedal drive for under $1,300 or right at about $1,300 if you wanted to, if that's really what you wanted to do. You do have some other options for shorter kayaks, like this Bass 100. That's a 10-foot kayak that can actually take a motor in the rear or in the bow. This kayak is going to be stable. It's going to be a little, it's not too heavy. So you could still be able to car top this one as well. But this is a good kayak for somebody that wants to get into something fairly inexpensive, like sub $750. Want something that's still wide, that they can put a motor on or just paddle around a little bit, and they want to take some gear on. So it's not necessarily going to be the fastest kayak. Somebody that gets this kayak, again, because it is wider and it's budget friendly, you're really just looking for something that doesn't break the bank and that is pretty stable. When we get into something like the wilderness systems, these are amazing kayaks for recreation, or I'm just taking a rod out for the day. Not necessarily something you're gonna want to stand on. Obviously the seats, you lose the frame seating and you're sitting a lot lower, but that makes it really good for paddlers. Not necessarily standing up and fishing, but these again are on the lower end, lower cost spectrum that we've seen today. So now you're talking easily sub $1,000 with some extra gear that you can get out on the water. But the benefit of these is because they're so much narrower, you're not able to really stand up on them, but they make for great paddling kayaks. They're fast, you can beat them up, you can drag them around, they will last a long time, which is why so many rental companies use these kayaks here. And so lastly, we're going to check out some of the other feel-frees that are in the back. And these are for individuals if you're saying, hey, I want to get out on the water, or I'm not really sure I'm into this whole kayak thing, but I do want to get out there and I don't want to spend a bunch of money to do it. I want to be sub 1,000, sub 800, sub $700 for a kayak to pedal. I definitely do recommend the feel-frees for a couple of reasons. One, they're really easy to transport because on the feel-frees, they do have a wheel in the keel back here, so you can just pick up your kayak really from the handle here and just drag it, and that makes it so easy to transport. You also still do get a lot of good features with these kayaks. The seats are extremely comfortable and you can adjust them very easily on the water. You can raise them high, you can raise them low. As you see, this one's in the low position, that one's in the higher position. They are extremely comfortable. Before all the fishing kayaks kind of blew up and did what they were doing, this was one of our #1 kayaks that we fished with because the seat was so amazing and it was easy to transport. You do have good features here, like if you wanted to add a fish finder, you can do that here. You can put your transducer on the bottom. You could take that with you or keep that in the car with you. You also do have built-in rod holders in the back, and you do have rails all along this kayak. So it is stable. You can stand and fish in this. It is light and it is easy to paddle with a very comfortable seat. and you can get into these really, really inexpensively. So I know that was just a broad look at the different styles, different types of kayaks that you can get, but I wanted to give somebody just kind of a 101 on what you can look for, right? The big differences, like the swivel seats. For those of you guys who maybe have some injuries or some back problems, being able to have a kayak that has a swivel seat, so if you're on the bank or you're on the dock, you can turn the seat and just sit down in it very easily, right? And then turn the seat forward. That is a game changer. And also for those who just, you know, when you're fishing or relaxing, you want to turn your seat, maybe just fish this way as your kayak's going down the bank, or just put your feet in the water. The swivel seats are very, very nice. So I'm gonna wrap that up. You guys let me know what else you want to see. If you want to see some decked out, tricked out fishing kayaks that have all the bells and whistles that are tournament ready, or if you guys just want to see some more of the, you know, more budget style kayaks, or the more, hey, I just want to go out and get on the water. I want something that's really easy. I want something that's really light, that's really convenient, because let's be honest, the easier it is for you to get out on the water and have a good time, the more likely you're going to do it. Thanks for watching, guys.